Hello and welcome back to another live stream on high altitude investing. Today is the 22nd of December. We're getting pretty close to Christmas. And it should be a good live stream as usual. Should be fun. Should be a good time. Let me go ahead and share the link everywhere. Got some of the same stuff that I talked about in the last live stream to talk about today, but also a little bit of new stuff as well. And I just figured it would be a good day to do a live stream. Didn't really feel like making a video. And sometimes doing a live stream is funner anyway, so that's what we're doing today. Share the link everywhere. Cool. And yeah, we'll get started here. Go over to Trading View and start doing some analysis. So I hope you guys have had a good weekend. Hope you were able to spend time with family or do something fun over the weekend, and hope you guys are ready for a good live stream and a good week. Christmas is coming, and that's pretty exciting. And yeah, let's see. Stream paused for a second. Don't know what was happening there. So let's pull a Bitcoin here and we'll get started. Go with a full chart here on Bitcoin and take a look at what's happening here in the short term. So Bitcoin started to see a little bit of a bottom here off 84,000, as you guys know. We went up towards 90,000 here, and now we just pulled back to about 88. So a little bit of a pullback here in the short term. Really not too surprising, to see Bitcoin chopping around. It's been doing that a lot lately, a lot of chop. So what we want to see is we want to see some type of a break of this range here on Bitcoin. So we have our range low here. Then we have a couple other levels here in the range that are key levels, like right here and here and here and up here as well. So this is basically just a trading range on Bitcoin. And kind of what we're looking for here is a break above this range. So we want to see price hold this support level, obviously this support level down here, that's kind of a given. But especially these two support levels, we want to see them hold. So around 83,000 and around 87,000 per Bitcoin. We want to see both of those levels hold in the short term. And if we can have both of those levels hold on Bitcoin and see some type of a break up through our resistance up here, that's going to be a really, really good sign for Bitcoin. Because if we can get up through this resistance, then we've broken out of this trading range and we are officially seeing some type of a reversal structure. For now, we only see the early signs of a reversal structure on Bitcoin, as you can see right here and right here. This could easily be a double bottom pattern for Bitcoin. That'd be no problem here, no surprise. We've seen a lot of double bottoms like this with Bitcoin. So we've only started to see the early signs of a bottoming structure here. So what we want to see is a full-blown reversal off of these lows, and the only thing that's going to confirm that is a break above our range high on Bitcoin. Now for me, I'm definitely bullish on Bitcoin right now, as you can tell by the title. I put the title of this live stream as "Here Comes the Bitcoin and Crypto Recovery." So I'm pretty bullish on Bitcoin as a whole right now, crypto as a whole. And there's a lot of reasons for that, which we'll talk about in just a second. But I do expect us to hold support here and to break up through our resistance on Bitcoin. Jay says, good week. Rapid says, nice little correction on BTC going on right now. Yeah, a little bit of one. In the short term, we do have a little tiny correction from 90K down to about 88 For sure we do. Arnold says, first of all, thank you for the donation, Arnold. I appreciate that. He also says, Dallin, I don't know if I made a stupid mistake, but I sold my gold and silver because of the big run and wanted to take profits. Now I want to slowly scale back into altcoins and Litecoin. Is this smart? You know, that's a really good question right now because a lot of people are, you know what most people are doing? What I see a lot of people doing? A lot of people are panic selling their crypto to FOMO into gold and silver. And that to me is just completely stupid. Like, gold and silver are at all-time highs right now. And I'm not saying that this is going to be the top of their cycle or anything at current price. I'm not trying to say it's just going to turn around and drop right now. But gold and silver are at all-time highs. So you're talking about a market that has extended all the way to a new all-time high. People are FOMOing in. People are very excited. It's the hot market right now. You know, people they were really excited about Bitcoin when it broke out to a new all-time high. They were excited about altcoins in 2024 toward the end of the year. But now gold and silver are the hot markets right now. So when I see people panic selling their crypto to go FOMO buy gold and silver, that is the stupidest thing that you could possibly do. Like, that is so dumb to do that. So I don't understand why people are so ready to go sell one asset that's undervalued and a good opportunity to buy, to FOMO buy into something that's in the short term very extended and could easily see a correction, even though I'm not saying it's going to be the top of the market, but silver and gold could easily see a correction. No problem. So that's kind of ridiculous to me that people are trying to do that. So I do think it is smart to be accumulating altcoins. If you sold all of your gold and silver, you know, I usually tell people not to do that just because it's always good to hold a moon bag of whatever you're invested in. So like if you're invested in an altcoin and you're up 100 times on your investment, but you want to take some profits, take 75% off the table, but don't sell all of it, right? That's kind of the idea. It's always good to have a little bit of money in a market that's doing well. If you're up on a trade, if you have a winning trade, you want to let your winners ride as best as you possibly can. That's a really smart thing to do. But yeah, thank you for that donation. And it is good to start scaling into Litecoin. I think it's a good timing for that. And they are super undervalued right now, crypto and altcoins in general. I agree. Chris B says, what do you think about picking up T-Fuel at current price? Anything under 0.03 cents. I'm a buyer. Have accumulated a large bag. I would say, yeah. I would say absolutely. Pick up some T-Fuel right now. There's Theta, T-Fuel, T-Drop, all of those right now. Super good buys. They're all in really good entries right now. Like if we pull up the T-Fuel chart, for example. Let's go to the daily here. Remove all the drawing tools. Look how good of an entry this is. This is what most people do not do. Most people, when they get into trading and investing, most people don't zoom out like this. They're way focused on short-term price action. But if you hop over to like the 10-day, the 8-day, the 1 month, any of those larger time frames, you're going to get an opportunity to pick something up at really dirt cheap prices if you're looking at the big picture market cycle and you're trying to buy the dip in the big picture. Because buying the dip in the big picture is really simple. It's really straightforward. I mean, look, this is down 97% from its peak. So that's clearly an extremely undervalued entry here for T Fuel, like a really good buy at this level. So that's a really good entry down here. Dirt cheap, you know? And yeah, it's really easy to see that in the big picture. But most people don't even use technical analysis. Most people, when they do this whole trading and investing thing, most people are worried about news. You know, they're worried about, oh, is there some positive news article that's going to make it so I can buy this and I'm going to make a bunch of money? But you know what happens when people trade news? They always buy the top all the time. They're FOMO buying when it's popular, when it's cool to buy something. If you look at the market cycle chart, not the Wall Street cheat sheet, but the other classic market cycle chart. Let's see here. Media attention starts coming in on the cycle right here when it's already getting, like halfway up the cycle. So you can see this market cycle chart. The takeoff period for sell-off, and then you get media attention, enthusiasm, public, greed. So the media starts talking about it a little bit, but really the public doesn't start buying in until right before the top. And they're all buying because they've heard of some news article or something to get them excited about the project or the coin or whatever stock they're buying. And by then it's too late. It's already overvalued at that point. You know, the most profitable place to buy a market cycle is in the despair phase of the cycle. So if we look over here, here was New Paradigm up here on T Fuel in 2021. Here is the return to normal phase, also known as the bull trap, right? Then you get fear, capitulation, and right now we're in despair. We've fallen below our trend line right here, and we're in despair. You can see this dotted line going across. This is our trend line on T Fuel. And when you fall below the mean right here, this mean level, that's the despair phase. And our trend line for T Fuel was like right here. I'll just delete this so you can see a little clearer. And we'll put a real trend line on. See, that was our trend line for T Fuel right here. When you fall below that level, that's called despair. It's also known as depression on the Wall Street cheat sheet. And the depression phase of the cycle is the most profitable point in the entire cycle. That's the most financial opportunity with the lowest amount of risk is in the depression phase of the cycle. And that's exactly where we're at with T Fuel right now, is the despair phase, the depression phase, depending on which market cycle example you're looking at. That's the point of maximum financial opportunity with the lowest amount of risk. So there's no question in my mind whatsoever that T Fuel is a really good entry right now, where it's at, current price. So yeah, I'd say go for it if you're looking. And you can see I'm rocking my Theta shirt today. Wearing my Theta shirt. If you guys want a cool shirt like this, if you guys want to get one of these really dope Theta t-shirts, click in the description of my live stream. You can buy one of these shirts right here for $30, including shipping, if you're in the US. If you're not in the US, you'll have to pay for shipping. But if you're in the US, included in the price, $30, you can get one of these cool Theta t-shirts. Got multiple sizes. And I also have cool Theta hats. They're snapback, so you can change the size. So if you're interested in getting some Theta merch, click in the description box below. Quite a few people have already bought some. There is a limited supply, but I'd be more than happy to ship you one of these really cool Theta hats or Theta t-shirts. So check in the description box below for that. But yeah, T Fuel looking good. Looking really good. Same with theta. Theta and the T-fuel chart are the same thing. If we pull up the theta chart here, it's really the same thing. If you look right here, here's our trend line. We fell below that level, which is the median, the mean line, MEAN. And that's the level that once you fall below that trend line, you're in the despair phase of the cycle. And that despair phase is a really, really good opportunity to be picking up whatever asset you're trading at really good, dirt cheap prices. It's also the point where the reversal happens. When you're in despair, that's where the selling pressure is gone, and the market sees a reversal at that level. Are you trading in the short term currently? Yes, I am. I'm on a long position on Bitcoin right now. I have a long position open on Bitcoin. My entry for Bitcoin was like right here. I bought pretty much the exact bottom of this whole move right here, from up here down to here. So my entry is like pretty much 84,000, like almost exactly, a little bit above 84, but just right here. I entered on Bitcoin on a long position, so I'm up on my trade right now. Don't have any plans on taking profits because here's the thing. I have nothing to lose, you know? I haven't actually set my break-even stop loss yet. I was going to do it this morning and I haven't set it yet, so I should probably go do that. But I have a trade open. In fact, I'll set it right now just so I don't have any risk. But yeah, I've got a trade open. I'm in profit on Bitcoin. I'm going to set a break-even stop. So why would I sell? Why would I, if you're in a winning trade and you have a break-even stop loss, you literally have nothing to lose. I'll delete this stop loss that's a little bit below. Add a stop loss that's at my entry price. Here, 85041. Looks like I bought in at 85041, which is about right here. So my entry was pretty much like right here on Bitcoin. I bought in like right here. Okay, 8501. So now I have a break-even stop loss. I'm up on my trade. I'm up 25%. I use pretty low leverage. I don't believe in high leverage trading. But I'm up on my Bitcoin trade and there's zero risk. If it keeps going up, cool, I make money. If it doesn't go up, I don't lose anything. So yeah, I am trading Bitcoin in the short term right now. Matt Osty says, whoa, a Monday live stream, love it. What's up, Matt? Thank you for tuning in. I bought gold and silver a year and a half ago, almost doubled now. Nice. Yeah, I've been talking about gold and silver for so long, you guys. When I first really started learning about market cycles, I posted on my TradingView account actually and told people that they should buy silver right here when oil was crashing. Remember when oil went to negative and everybody freaked out and stuff about oil crashing? Well, at that same point, silver also tested $12. And I was looking at silver from a market cycle perspective. And if you look at silver and then you look at the NASDAQ composite during the bottom of its cycle, it looked exactly the same. So I posted an entry on my TradingView account for silver right here at $12 an ounce because it looked exactly like the NASDAQ at the bottom of 2008. And I was like, man, this is like such a good entry on silver. And look what happened. So this is the cool thing about these market cycles. And to be honest with you, silver probably isn't in a top. It's probably going to go higher. But it will have corrections. So next time there's a dip on silver, especially if you get a 30% dip or whatever, 20%, if you get a nice correction here on silver, buy the dip because it's unlikely that this is the end of its uptrend. If you look at it probably will see a correction because everybody's FOMO buying into it. So it probably will see one soon. But if you look at what happened to the NASDAQ after its bottom in 2009, look how much it grew. So it's unlikely that this is just going to be the top of silver or gold right here. They'll probably keep rallying, but people are definitely FOMOing into them. So a 20% correction at any point soon. It could hit $80 first, who knows? But a 20% correction is likely. And all dips would be for buying because it's probably going to keep trending up for quite some time before it really, really tops out. With that being said, altcoins, Bitcoin, they're going to give you a bigger percentage gain. They're more undervalued right now, and they're a better entry in terms of how undervalued they are in their cycles. But silver and gold are going to keep trending up. I really believe that. Not without corrections, but they will keep trending up. What do you think about ZBCN? Let's pull up ZBCN. Crypto. Mexi. So this is the first sell-off pattern here for ZBCN. So if you go look at like a really good example of this, let's go look at, I don't know. Let's pull up Dogecoin and go study one of the previous Dogecoin cycles. And we'll pull up Dogecoin like on the daily candlesticks here. So pretty much every cycle, before they pump really hard, before they go like straight vertical, they're pretty much always going to have some type of a first sell-off pattern. So here with Dogecoin, we get a pump right here, followed by this correction you can see. We have a correction on Dogecoin here. But then the real pump started afterwards. So this is called a first sell-off. This is when the uptrend is starting. People are starting to get excited about something, but the market pulls back, it sells off a little bit, and then the real parabolic run comes afterwards, right? And if you look at ZBCN, that's really what it's doing right now. It's doing the same kind of thing that Dogecoin did. And I know people hate it when I compare meme coins to their fundamental coin they like because of fundamentals. But the fact of the matter is these charts do the same thing over and over again with subtle variations, whether it's a meme coin or whether it's your favorite fundamental project or what. It doesn't almost even matter. They're doing a lot of the same patterns. Now, all the really, really meme coins, like on Dex Screener, Dogecoin, I would say, is less of a meme coin than these ones because it's more established. And there are some people that use it for like a real world use case, and it's pretty energy efficient and stuff like that. But a lot of these just straight super meme coins, these ones are even harder to trade. In fact, as a rule of thumb for these coins on Dex Screener that people are creating all the time, if it's up 500% or whatever in 24 hours, get out. Like it's just going to dump. So don't try to FOMO buy any of these coins. And a lot of these coins also do like crazy patterns, just totally unconventional, and they're less consistent. So be really careful trading these kinds of coins. You have to get in early on stuff or know what you're doing. There's less consistency. It's a lot more of a gamble. But stuff that has a bigger market cap, stuff that's more established, these coins do very, very similar patterns over and over and over again with subtle variations, but it's shockingly similar. So ZBCN looks really good in terms of where it's at in its cycle. I'd say it's right here, like how Dogecoin was before it pumped in 2021. That's exactly where I'd say ZBCN is at in its cycle. Cesar Rodriguez says, Dallin, my big brother, God bless you. Well, thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Dal and I just opened a long position on BTC with a tight stop loss. Once I'm in profit, I'm going to set a break-even stop loss. You taught me well. Well, cool. Yeah, it's pretty fun. If you use really low leverage and you're not trading with very much of your portfolio, it's pretty cool to do swing trading. It's pretty fun to do. What about Litecoin and long-term version of Litecoin? Yeah, so my long-term vision for Litecoin is pretty simple. If we pull up Litecoin on Bitfinex, which is the hardest one to find for some reason, TradingView is harder. There it is. Yeah, there we go. Litecoin on Bitfinex, and we hop out to like the 15-day time frame. Litecoin is essentially doing a multi-year accumulation pattern. That's what it's been doing for a very long time. In fact, Coinbase is actually even better for this. Let's pull up Litecoin on Coinbase, because you get to see a better picture of the volume. And then let's pull up NVIDIA here. Take a look at NVIDIA. So my view on Litecoin and my view on Litecoin in the big picture is that Litecoin basically did a multi-year accumulation structure. So if we look at NVIDIA over here on the right, and we're looking at Litecoin over here on the left, you know, most people are saying, oh, Litecoin hasn't pumped yet, so it's not going to pump. You know, look, it pumped last time, and then it pumped again last time. How come it hasn't pumped yet? Well, look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA pumped like this, and then crashed, and then pumped like this, and then crashed, and then it didn't pump. It just went sideways for like forever. And then it finally went vertical. So there's no reason that Litecoin just can't pump. People are like, oh, the 4-year cycle is over. You know, it was fun while it lasted. Too bad the crypto is going to go into a bear market now. You know, that's what people are thinking. But if you study some of these big picture accumulation cycles and you get an idea of what these look like in the big picture, all of a sudden you go, oh, hey, you know, Litecoin is basically doing what NVIDIA did. And no, it doesn't have to follow this 4-year cycle ideology that people have bought into. In my last live stream, I showed something very interesting to be aware of. People think the 4-year cycle is just true. They just think, oh, this is the way it is. There's no way it could be anything else. You know, that's what people think. But if you look at Digibyte, for example, Digibyte has never done a 4-year cycle. This thing, you know, this is just one altcoin, for example. The first cycle, the first bear market on Digibyte was 165 days. The second bear market on Digibyte was 805, and our current bear market is over 1,600 days long. This is not a 4-year cycle. This is a completely deviating cycle. It's doing different lengths of time every single time. And even Bitcoin, that people think is married to the 4-year cycle, they think there's no way it can do anything other than a 4-year cycle. Even Bitcoin doesn't even really, I mean, the first cycle on Bitcoin wasn't a 4-year cycle. Look at this. Let's take a look at the first cycle here on Bitcoin. Okay? 790 days. Okay? Second cycle on Bitcoin, 1,300 days. Okay? Let's check out the third cycle on Bitcoin. 1,200 days. Next cycle, 1,400. So the last 2 cycles were 4-year cycles. But the other ones weren't. The other cycles on Bitcoin weren't. This one is significantly shorter than the other ones. So, you know, I just don't see why people think it has to do a 4-year cycle. It doesn't have to do a 4-year cycle. There's There's no reason it has to do anything except for go up, because big money isn't going to play around, and the big institutions have already positioned themselves. Crypto is set up for mass adoption. That's what's coming with the crypto markets. We're set up for mass adoption. So over the long term, and I believe in the near future as well, we're going to see growth in crypto. It's going to continually grow over time. The demand isn't going to go anywhere. And I believe both in the short term and in the big picture, we're bullish. So come on, don't marry an idea, people. The market doesn't have to, in fact, it's probably not going to do what everybody thinks it's going to do. But yeah, I'm really bullish on Litecoin in the big picture. Hey, brother, LTC and XMR seem similar. Do you think they could be a match? I don't know exactly what you mean by a match. I am bullish on XMR. XMR actually looks a lot like silver does. If we pull up XMR and take a look at the XMR chart, XMR kind of looks like silver, but silver is just leading in terms of what it did. But if we pull up XMR here, and let's pull up silver, I mean, look at that. Massive cup and handle, right, on both of these charts. Both of them, massive cup and handle. Now, XMR hasn't broke its old all-time high yet, but it looks like it's going to just straight go vertical all the way to a new all-time high, just like how silver did. So, this is a huge, huge cup and handle pattern, just like what happened with silver, big cup and handle, right? So yeah, I'm really bullish on XMR. There are fundamental similarities between XMR and Litecoin, because Litecoin is also a privacy coin. But in terms of the chart, there's some similarities too. Both of them look really bullish. XMR is kind of leading right now, probably because of the demand that there is on like darknet markets and stuff. Let's be honest. It's used all the time for that kind of stuff. Do you think Knight will be rugged first as new coins usually do? I don't know anything about Knight. I have to go look at the chart. I'm assuming it's a deck screener coin. So let's pull up Knight here and check it out. Knight. I guess maybe you're talking about Knight / USDT on Pancake Swap. It is a new looking coin. It's starting to uptrend here. It probably could sell off like this right here. Hopefully this is the right coin. There's so many coins sometimes when you guys request one that isn't mainstream. It's hard to know if I even have the right coin a lot of times. But it could sell off. But I think overall, since this is a new coin, there's over $1 billion in market cap already. Is this even real? What the heck? This doesn't even make sense to me. I don't know. This looks a little sketchy. There's 3 issues on the blockchain. It says it has $1 billion in market cap, but I don't know. This looks kind of sketchy to me. What's the trading volume in the past 24? 5 million. I guess this could be real. Let's go to CoinMarketCap and see if it's on CoinMarketCap. Midnight. Wow, this is already in 42 market cap. Oh, I guess it's on all these major exchanges, OKX, Bybit, Mexi. This probably is real. I don't know very much about this coin. It could easily correct a little bit here in the short term. A lot of new coins do. But if crypto keeps reversing, like Bitcoin looks like it's going to keep reversing in the short term, it could follow the rest of crypto up. So I wouldn't be surprised to see more trending up. But yeah, a lot of times these new coins do dump, but you can see that's what happened when it first got released, is it went from $1.80 down to 10 cents. So it kind of already dumped. So it actually doesn't look bad. I mean, in the short term, I wouldn't be surprised to see a pullback, but it really doesn't look bad. I would be aware. I'd look into some of these security issues, ownership renounced, mintable. So those can be problems. If they mint a whole bunch of this coin, they can just control the supply. There's definitely things to be aware of. You'd think there'd be more reaction to it here on Dex Screener with how big the market cap is. So I would just lean to the side of caution with this one. And I'd do my research on the blockchain itself and the developers and look to see, is there a real team behind it? Is there, is there a reason to believe that this is like a true trustable project? And if there is, then it does actually look pretty good to me. King J says, your streams are awesome and much appreciated. I probably wouldn't have survived this bear market without people like yourself. Well, thank you, and thank you for the donation. I genuinely appreciate that. Good bloody morning from Australia. I don't think Velo has been mentioned for a while. Could you take a peek at it, please, mate? Yes, I'll take a look at Velo for you, and good morning, my friend. Let's see here. Let's just go to a single chart, and I think it's on KuCoin that we have the best data for Velo. Yeah, I haven't looked at Velo a lot lately. I need to make a video about Velo and Bitcoin Cash. Both of those coins I see is looking really good right now, and I haven't made a video about them for a while, so I got to put that on my whiteboard over there so I remember to. So yeah, this is an ABC correction here on Velo. We have an ABC correction down, wave A, wave B, and wave C. And you can see that we're starting to get a buyback here, which is good because we're near major support. So we have this major support area right here. We're starting to get a buyback at the support level. So all of this is I think it's a leading diagonal. There's so many different patterns. This is a leading diagonal Elliott wave, if I remember right. So let's pull this up. Leading diagonal Elliott wave. Yeah, here we go. Leading diagonal. So basically, Velo did a leading diagonal Elliott wave. So let's pull up the logarithmic chart and take a look at what's happening here from an Elliott wave principle perspective, right? So this is a leading diagonal. And how do you know? You know because this is a rising wedge. The only time you're going to see 5 waves up inside of a rising wedge is either an ending diagonal or a leading diagonal Elliott wave. In this case, we have a leading diagonal, which means you have a rising wedge in wave 1. So this is wave 1 right here. Wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Leading diagonal. And then we get our ABC correction down from wave 1 and 2. Wave 1 and 2. So there's our ABC, as you can see on our example over here. Wave 1 and wave 2, there has to be a correction there. So this is really the point for Velo where we should start to see wave 3 come into this market, where we're going to get a bullish impulse wave down off of support, and we'll start to see this next bullish impulse wave coming for Velo, which should take us up to a new local high and start an uptrend here and really confirm that this is the bottom here. All of this structure right here that's been forming since 2022 until today is a huge bottom formation, and we're preparing for that next Elliott wave so we can start that uptrend that I've been talking about for quite some time on this coin, which I think I started talking about like down here. I've been making videos about this for quite some time. So I do see another bullish impulse wave coming. We should be nearing the completion of wave 2, if not at the exact bottom of it, and ready for that next bullish impulse wave, which should start that uptrend that I've been looking at, which will be very profitable. Very profitable. I mean, just above, from current price, above our local high. That's a pretty big percentage gain from current price. That's 500% from current price just to our local high right here. So when it breaks above that level, if you buy right now, you're talking about 20x, 30x to the top of wave 3. And that's not even the end of the bullish Elliott wave impulse. You still would have 4 and 5 coming. So I'm very bullish on Velo. I've been that way for a long time. Chart just continues to paint more clarity, give us more data on what's happening. And I still remain very bullish on this coin. 798 Welder says, well, all right. Hey, thanks for tuning in, man. Paul Bogo says, hi, brother. We are so close for liftoff. Yeah, I agree. I think we are really ready for liftoff here. Rapid says, what indicators are your favorite, RSI or MACD? MACD is my all-time favorite indicator, but I'm not big on indicators. I'll check the RSI. I check the MACD like all the time. So if there's one that I'm big on, it's the MACD. But I check the RSI. The other indicator that I do often use in the crypto markets is the net positions indicator, especially on the daily time frame, which this indicator basically tells you how much money is institutional volume and how much money is retail volume, because you basically want to be buying when there's more institutional money in the market. But the MACD is the most powerful indicator of all time, in my opinion. And there's a reason that most of the biggest trading desks in the world, they might look at the RSI, they might look at the stock RSI or the regular RSI sometimes. But for the most part, the biggest trading desks in the world use the MACD because it's probably the most powerful trading indicator in the world. And most of the time I don't even have 3 indicators on the chart. Most of the time I just have only the MACD on the chart. The Moorman says, I feel like we're repeating the 2021 cycle top. If that's the case, then BTC still has to go lower in quarter 1. Well, I'd say that's what everybody thinks, So, no, I don't think that that's what's happening at all more. And if you just barely tuned in, I went into detail about how Bitcoin doesn't follow 4-year cycles. It's only followed 2. And every other cycle on Bitcoin actually wasn't even a 4-year cycle. And how altcoins don't follow 4-year cycles at all. Digibyte, for example, hasn't ever followed a 4-year cycle, but it pumps all the time. Every time it bottoms out in its cycle. So if we pull up Digibyte over here, and we pull up Digibyte market cap chart, not dominance, but market cap chart. Where are you? There we go. If you look at Digibyte, for example, the first bear market on Digibyte was 165 days. Second bear market on Digibyte was 805 days. And our current bear market is 1,600 days. So this idea that the crypto markets just follows a 4-year cycle, people only believe this because the last 2 cycles were a 4-year cycle. And if you look at Litecoin, for example, Litecoin, everybody thinks it's just going to do the same. Here's the thing. What everybody's looking at here is they said, 2017 it pumped and 2021 it pumped. But it hasn't pumped yet. So the 4-year cycle must be over. Litecoin's headed into a bear market, That's what people are thinking. That's what most people are thinking right now. But if you look at, for example, NVIDIA did the same thing. NVIDIA did a pump right here, and then a dump, and then a pump, and then a dump. And then it went sideways for forever, deviated from this cycle that it was going through, where it was pumping and dumping and pumping and dumping. Then it went sideways for significantly longer than it took for the first pump or the second pump to happen. And then all of a sudden it breaks out into a multi-year bull market. instead of going into a bear market. And most people think crypto's headed into a bear market because everybody knows about the 4-year cycle. But the 4-year cycle only happened twice, and it really only happened on Bitcoin and a select few altcoins, because most altcoins haven't been doing 4-year cycles, and Bitcoin's first cycle wasn't a 4-year cycle, so it doesn't have to do a 4-year cycle. And if the majority of people think that's what's going to happen, it's very unlikely that that's what we're going to see in the market. So, Dallin, do you see algo retracing to its all-time high? Yeah, so let's pull up algo. Do I see it retracing to its all-time high? Absolutely. I don't have any problem with this coin breaking out into a bull market up to its all-time high again. For example, just if we do want to look at indicators, let's take the net positions off for a little bit. If we do want to look at indicators, this has bullish divergence on the MACD, first of all, and on the RSI. Bullish divergence going back for multiple years here. And this is really a really dirt cheap price at 11 cents here from our previous old all-time high over here at $2.75. So this is what I mean by big institutions. What they've basically done here is they've made it look like the crypto markets just follow this pump and dump thing, where every 4 years we get this pump in a big bear market, and that's the way crypto works. But what they've really done here is, as 2021 started to top out here and all these altcoins started to dump, what they've really been able to do is position themselves and put billions of dollars into all of these assets, all of them, at really dirt cheap prices, convince everybody that they're not going to reverse down here, so that when they do, nobody's expecting it and nobody's ready for it. And Algorand is one of those coins that is a perfect example of this. I mean, we had a pump back here in 2021, right? But now we're in the depression phase of the cycle, but everybody's given up on a reversal because they all believe in the 4-year cycle. And these markets show very little evidence that it has to continue to do a 4-year cycle. If you're studying altcoins and Bitcoin's first cycle, and you're taking into account all of the data, there's no evidence to show that it just has to continually do a 4-year cycle. It can deviate from that. And like I was showing with the Litecoin chart, it can go into a multi-year bull market right when nobody thinks it's going to happen because they all got wrecked. So, Jared Tate is a great lead man for Digibyte True Decentralization. Yeah, Digibyte is pretty cool. I like Digibyte. It's one of the many cool projects out there. There's actually crypto is changing the world, you guys. Don't give up on crypto. Don't give up on this market. Don't pretend that you can just predict these cycles perfectly. That's what everybody else is trying to do. They're all trying to pretend that they have this whole market figured out and that they're just going to be able to predict these big picture cycles perfectly, and that, we're just going to have another bear market now. I have never, ever, in all of the time that I've been trading and investing these coins for 9+ years now that I've been doing this, I've never seen the majority of people call for a bear market and then be right. But I'm telling you, I'm not going to list names, but if I go to all of the biggest accounts out there that are like big TA accounts that everybody trusts and have a lot of influence, all of them are calling for a bear market. All of them are showing the 2021. You know what everybody's looking at is this. Everybody's looking at the 2021 Bitcoin top. And they're all calling for a bear market. So The market's not going to do what everybody thinks it's going to do. And all the time that I've been trading and investing, I've never seen it just, if everybody's calling for a bear market, I've never seen it do that. Let's pull up BTC currently. See, this is what everybody's looking at. Everybody's looking at this right here. They're like, oh, look, doesn't Bitcoin look like the 2021 top? Well, not really. I mean, kind of, but not really. It's been way more sustainable. This whole pump happened. Do you realize how fast this pump happened right here? This pump happened in like a single year from 2020 to our peak over here. And then it bottomed out and bounced back up. But look how long it took this pump to happen. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. This is way more sustainable. Our current price action on Bitcoin is completely different than what we saw previously. This is clearly behaving a lot more like how the market was sustainably growing in 2016 before we went nuts in 2017 than to how parabolic we were in 2021 when the market just went from being worth 3,000 per coin all the way up to like 60,000 in a single year. So yeah, I do think algo will turn around. People are so dumb. I'll just be honest. There's so many people that are so dumb. It's ridiculous. Seriously. I mean, from the bottom here, this is what parabolic looks like, you guys. In a single year, going from 4,000 to 63,000 per coin. That's parabolic. No wonder Bitcoin topped right there. But if you look at Bitcoin currently, look how sustained and healthy this growth is. This is not parabolic. This is not unsustainable. This is sustainable, healthy growth on Bitcoin that took 1, 2, 3, 3 years to get to 126,000. Took us basically 3 years. Whereas our last bull market, we did the whole run in a year. So that's the difference between sustainable growth and unsustainable growth. And no wonder Bitcoin is growing in a sustainable way, because this is the mass adoption cycle. The big institutions have positioned themselves. They've been positioning themselves. They're ready for a big bull market in a very big way, like what happened to the internet and computing. So it's growing in a more institutional, sustainable way than it ever did previous. And so, yeah, I think that we will see a big picture bull market and a very sustainable growth for crypto in a very big way. Christmas is going to be long this year. Every day will feel like a present. Yeah, I think 2026 is going to be like Christmas all year long, to be honest with you. 2,431 algo bag. So hoping it turns into a big return on investment. I truly believe you're doing the right thing by holding your theta, your algo, by buying the dip, by believing in a big picture reversal, by not getting swayed by the crowds, by what the majority is doing. I really believe you will be financially compensated in a big way for taking that kind of faith in these markets. And something I've talked about in multiple live streams now. See, this is what sustainable growth looks like, you guys. Here's Bitcoin in 2016. Here's Bitcoin currently. Do you see how it's just steadily climbing up with corrections, but just steady growth, you know? Some of these corrections were kind of big. Let's go to the 10-day candlestick so you can see a little bit better here. There we go. Maybe 5-day. Some of these corrections were kind of big, especially as we started to get up towards like 1,300 per coin. They were more violent, bigger corrections. But this is sustainable growth on Bitcoin. Now look at Bitcoin currently. Tell me that this isn't a sustainable growth curve on Bitcoin. It's really very similar. This is what parabolic looks like. This is what happened in 2017. This is what happened in 2021. This is what leads to a big bear market, is parabolic unsustainable growth. But with Bitcoin currently, we see very sustainable growth on Bitcoin. Very much like what happened in 2016. And so the idea that big institutions are fooling everybody seems a lot more sound than the idea that the market's just going to do what everybody thinks it's going to do because everybody and their mom knows about the 4-year cycle now. That seems extremely unlikely. But this idea that it's going to do what nobody thinks it's going to do and go into a big picture mass adoption because big institutions have positioned themselves, because crypto is a very valuable, useful technology that is ready for mass adoption, just like what happened to the internet and computers, makes a lot more sense to me. It's a lot more logical to me. And when the charts look like they did before we had 2017, but only bigger and longer, that tells me that this is probably big institutions accumulating before a big run in the market. Thanks, Dallin. I'll watch the replay. Appreciate your analysis. Well, thank you, AC, for tuning in to today's live stream. So this is my thesis. This is my view on the markets. This is how I see things. I know it's unconventional compared to what everybody's talking about right now. I know it's different than what most people think, because they've all given up on their altcoins. They all think that this is done, that Bitcoin is headed into a bear market and that it's over. But this is what I genuinely, with all of my heart, all of my mind, all of the stuff that I've learned about analysis, this is what I see. Big picture mass adoption. And there's a lot of stuff to show evidence for this. And actually more than what people realize, to discredit this whole 4-year cycle idea. Not that we didn't have 2 4-year cycles on Bitcoin, and not that some of the altcoins didn't do a 4-year cycle, but that we haven't always had a 4-year cycle on Bitcoin, and that most altcoins haven't done 4-year cycles. They've done other things, but they still pumped. Again, look at Digibyte. We'll look at this one more time. Look at the Digibyte chart. I mean, this is just one example of an altcoin, just one example of an altcoin that did not do a 4-year cycle at all. It just did its own thing. Look at this. $165 days, 790, and now we're currently at 1,600 days. So this is pumping and dumping and pumping and dumping like crypto markets do, but this cycle is way different than 4 years. Way different. So, and then of course the Litecoin example as well, how Litecoin looks like Nvidia, and Nvidia pumped really hard. Same kind of stuff I've been talking about the whole stream, same kind of stuff I've been talking about for a while. But I really believe crypto will go nuts. And the people that are going to make money are the people that are going to take risk, go against the crowds, don't follow what's popular or cool to believe in these markets. And fact of the matter is the 4-year cycle is the cool thing to believe in right now. So anyways, let's pull up one more chart here. Let's pull up the total crypto market cap here and take a look at what happens to new technologies as they're adopted by the public, because their uptrends can be much bigger than what people think. Here is the total crypto market cap. Let's pull up Apple computers. This is what crypto is doing. You want to know what's really happening to crypto? It's not just this pump and dump that's going to just die. Crypto is evolving out of a pump and dump market, unless you're on Dex Screener and you're trading meme coins. Crypto is it's becoming a real thing that people take seriously, that's actually adopted and used by the public. You can see here's Apple early on with its uptrend. Early on in the cycle, we had a pump right here, the internet bubble. This is the internet bubble. It's a lot bigger if you zoom into it. This is 2008. Look at all this institutional accumulation early on in the trend. Here's the crypto bubble in 2017. Here's our basically 2008 FTX situation in 2021, right, with crypto. And look at all this volume. Isn't that interesting? Look at all this volume on the total crypto market cap. Crypto genuinely is set up to do what new technologies do when they're adopted by the public, which is just the demand grows. The demand rolls over to a point where it's not just coming and going, but to where it's sustainably growing. And that's what mass adoption means, is the demand for something is rolled over to the point where the public takes it seriously and the big institutions are adopting it, so it becomes something everybody knows about. And that's what leads something to do like what Apple computers did, where it went into a full-blown bull market. And this is my view on crypto. This is my honest view on crypto, is that we are headed into a massive, massive bull market. A big deal for this market in a really big way. So that's my stream for the day. How does XLM look for 2026? I think XLM is going to do like what XMR is starting to do and what I believe Litecoin will do in 2026, which is start to break above its old all-time high and pump in a significant way. Rampus69 says, what do you think are A sector coins? What do you think about RWA sector coins? RBNT is interesting. It's an Aussie coin. Okay, last coin for the day, and then I'm gonna go help my friend move some furniture in his new place. RBNT. I'd say this is a good entry down here just at first glance. This is actually one of my favorite patterns to buy. Huge dump like this. Looks dead, looks worthless, but you can see there's accumulation down here. It's also heavily undervalued in relation to its old peak over here at 48 cents. You're talking about 0.008 cents right now. Starting to show some early signs of a potential bottom formation as well, right here. This could easily be an Adam and Eve, or a double bottom, I mean, not an Adam and Eve double, but just a regular double bottom. And yeah, I think that this is a really good entry down here, 0.008 cents. RBNT coin. Red Belly Network. See if they have a website here. Website, here we are. redbelly.network. Looks like it's partnered with universities, with some pretty big companies. The website looks nice and clean. Looks like they've got videos you can watch on here. Yeah, I'd have to do more research on it, but just taking a glance at the chart looks like a really good entry right now. I think it has a lot of potential, and it's really undervalued. So this is the kind of stuff that you a lot of times you'll see turn around. Like a good example of this, Ethereum. Ethereum's a good example of this, actually. If you look at Ethereum on the daily candlesticks and you go back to the very first cycle on Ethereum, Ethereum did the same thing. Ethereum, it's kind of hard to see because of the volatility, But when Ethereum first got added, it just fell off a cliff. It looked completely worthless, and then it bottomed out and turned around. And so this is a pretty common pattern for crypto. There's a lot of coins that do this. Cardano, right? Cardano did the same thing. Cardano, pull up Cardano on, let's see here. Where is it? Cardano. You have to get the full chart a lot of times to get the right pattern that you're looking for. Oh, here we are. Cardano. You know, this is exactly what Cardano did. If you look at Cardano, it had a pump, it fell off a cliff, it looked completely dead, completely worthless. Let's change time frames again to get it just right here. There we go. Look, it got added, you know, it came out in 2017, it pumped really hard, fell off a cliff, just like how this one pumped really hard and fell off a cliff. Looked completely dead, looked completely worthless, like it was never going to pump again. And then look what happened to Cardano, all the way to a new all-time high. So I love to buy stuff that looks like this. It's really profitable to do that. All right, cool. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm going to call it a day. I appreciate you guys. I love you. Merry Christmas to all of you. Again, if you want one of these cool Theta t-shirts or a Theta hat, click in the description box below. Only $30. Limited supply. If you're in the U.S., the shipping is included in the price. But yeah, I'll see you guys in future videos, future live streams, and as always, stay profitable out there.